The proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus took Peter, John, and James and went up the mountain to pray. While he was praying, his face changed in appearance, and his clothing became dazzling white. And behold, two men were conversing with him, Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his exodus that he was going to accomplish in Jerusalem. Peter and his companions had been overcome by sleep, but becoming fully awake, they saw his glory and the two men standing with him. As they were about to part from him, Peter said to Jesus, "Master, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But he did not know what he was saying. While he was still speaking, a cloud came and cast a shadow over them, and they became frightened when they entered the cloud. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, "This is my chosen Son. Listen to him." After the voice had spoken, Jesus was found alone. They fell silent and did not at that time tell anyone what they had seen. The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel passage for this Sunday is taken from St. Luke, the account of the Transfiguration of Jesus. That's why our theme for this Sunday is how the involvement of God in our lives could transform us, could give us an experience of our own transfiguration. In the first reading, Abraham had a covenant relationship with God. And that covenant relationship, that sharing of life and destiny, transformed Abraham from being a nomad into, a possessor of land, vast tracts of land, from being a childless man into the promised father of so many descendants. What a transfiguration! Thanks to God, who has chosen him and has forged a covenant relationship with him. In the second reading, St. Paul tells the Philippians that we are awaiting a great transformation. From being citizens of this earth, we are looking forward to our true home, where we will have citizenship in heaven. And there, our mortal bodies would also be transfigured. We would share in the glorious body of the risen Lord, thanks to the Lord's power. Unfortunately, many people would not want God, Jesus, the risen one, to get involved in their lives. So here on earth, they worship their false god, which is their belly, pleasure, self-gratification. And because of that, no real transformation happens in our life here on earth and even in life of society. So let the power of Jesus, the risen one, enter our lives. And even here, even now, we would already experience transformation, leading to its fulfillment in heaven. In the Gospel, we have this beautiful story of Jesus taking his 3 closest disciples, Peter, James, and John, on a mountain. And there, in the midst of his prayer, he was transfigured before them. His face, his clothing became glorious, white, brightly white. And there appeared with him Moses and Elijah. What is happening to Jesus here is part of God's involvement in the history of Israel. Remember, when we talk of the history of Israel, the Bible would always refer to the law and the prophets. They summarized God's involvement in covenant relationship with Israel. The law, personified by Moses, and the prophets, Elijah. Through Moses and Elijah, as leading figures, Israel knew God got involved with us. We became God's people. Our history, our ethos, our destiny were all tied to God's involvement with us. But Moses, while great, never saw God. On the mountain, God communicated with Moses. But at the moment when God was supposed to appear to Moses, God saved Moses. For no one could see the face of God and live. So Moses saw only the back of God. An involvement, yes, but partial. Elijah, again on a mountain, God passed by. In what form? In the form of a whispering wind. Elijah never saw God. But here on this mountain, Jesus, between Moses and Elijah, would know about his passage, about his death. And his death will be the revelation of God's glory. And now, Jesus is proclaimed as the Son of God. And Peter, James, and John saw the face of Jesus, saw the face of God in Jesus. Moses did not see the face of God. Elijah did not see the face of God. Now the disciples see the face of God. God is totally involved in the life of his people in his Son Jesus. But he will die. But his death will be the moment of glorification, the glory of God, and the transformation of the people. Now we can say, oh, but we are not Peter, we're not James, we're not John. We cannot see the face of God in Jesus anymore. But the Father said, listen to him. That is our way of seeing the face of God in Jesus. Listen to him. Listen to his word. Listen to his counsels. Listen to his example. Listen to him. And by listening to him, we allow him to enter our lives. We allow him to be part of our lives and our history. And hopefully, we would also be transformed the way he was transformed and the way humanity would be transformed in him. Listen to him. See the face of God in Jesus. I had a student years ago who was involved in a rehabilitation center for those who have been addicted to drugs, drug addiction, illegal substances. And I noticed that this person was very committed. In fact, a number of times he invited me to give some sort of an inspirational talk to those in the center, to celebrate Mass for them, to hear their confessions, and if their families were willing to talk with me, then I would find time for them. It was a beautiful, beautiful apostolate. And one day, it just crossed my mind to ask him how he got involved in such a worthwhile apostolate, but also quite difficult. And he said, I used to be a drug addict. I used to be one of them. But then I was transformed by the Word of God. And I was transformed by people who loved me, who were patient with me. I saw God coming to me, loving me, leading me into my passage to new life. And here I am, transformed, now helping those who need to cross to a new life. I was very much edified. I was inspired. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it.